it's getting harder to do this show. Not necessarily for lack of topics. There's a lot of topics to go around. No. The industry is actively fighting stuff like this show. Not this show in particular, but internet shows and the media and critical... Okay, this needs to be said, so let's just say it.
I'll fully admit my bias here. I'm a small-time video producer who talks about video games, so yeah, I got a stake in this and I'm going to try to persuade you into what I'm thinking, but odds are if you're watching this show, you probably agree with me already. I mean, I sincerely doubt that people in the industry would bother to look at lowly video producers. I don't even think they'd deem me worthy to piss on if I were on fire. So if I'm coming across as being one-sided and super jaded, well, now you know why. So what spurred this video on? Well, I read an article on Kotaku about video by Super Bunny Hop about the Kojima-Konami friction. Yeah, it stood for 2 weeks, and then the video was taken down by Konami, who filed a DMCA violation against it. The video was reinstated after YouTube yoinked it for missing information.
You know, I'm not exactly sure which is actually worse here. The fact that Konami, which is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, did this knowing full well how American copyright law works, or the fact they used the DMCA to silence a critic. Or if it's just more pathetic that this is standard operating procedure now.
Nintendo has gotten so draconian that many YouTube video game commentators and Let's Players won't even touch Nintendo games anymore. Many of you are already familiar with Total Biscuit's Day 1 Gary's incident and Jim Sterling's Slaughtering Grounds debacle. And Sega DMCA dozens of videos and got many channels removed from YouTube over Shining Force, and all they did was talk about the game. And speaking of talking about the game, while she was at Sony Online Entertainment, Linda Carlson stated outright that they would ban players for tweets that they found offensive. That seems pretty much SOP at daybreak now. You know, Carlson's a try-on now. I wonder if this policy carried over with her too. Add to this, there's a further layer. Steam has, as Eurogamer put it, opened the possibility that game developers can instruct Valve to ban players on its behalf for any reason. Disruptive behavior can be subjective, as anyone who watches this show regularly will know. And to be blunt, I don't trust a game dev to not abuse a system like this.
And what's worse in all of this is that you cannot appeal the ban from Valve. You have to appeal the ban from the company who issued it. So let's see if history is any kind of a guideline here. Here's how this is kind of working. So you got a video content producer, or somebody, even a minor person, who says something negative about a game. Okay, so the game devs company says, well, that's disruptive. They tell Valve to ban the person, and then the other person's like, well, who do I appeal to? Well, there's no accountability here. They just say, well, we say it's disruptive, therefore it is. You know what the message here is? Let's be blunt. The message is, suck our dicks, or you don't get to play our game. The other message is, they're gonna rub our noses in their shit.
I'll keep this as short as possible, but again, understand I do have a bias. I'm a content producer, and a small-time one at that. I'm not in a network, and because of that, I'm even more vulnerable than the big names. If I get hit, no one goes to bat for me. So I'm more than a little bitter about how YouTube handles these things and how badly boned small-time producers get for expressing their opinions. But I'll be brief. If a video of mine gets hit with a DMCA violation, the video is taken down immediately, and I have to prove my innocence. Meanwhile, I also get a channel strike. 3 strikes, you're gone. The channel just vanishes. And even with 1 strike, your ability to make videos is hamstrung severely. So every DMCA is pretty much an all or nothing for small channels like myself. So if someone like, Konami comes in and they hit my channel with multiple DMCAs, they do so knowing that YouTube routinely sides with the entity making the claim and not the video producer. So most small channels like mine don't even fight them.
You know, this is the kind of tactic that's usually reserved for, fringe debates. Those topics like religion and politics and does Florida actually really need a hockey team? But thing is that it works on smaller channels because the risk of losing that channel is very, very real, so they won't fight it, they'll just give it up. Now, this won't work when you have actual, larger channels with a bigger following and networks with legal teams behind them. So they have to rely on soft pressure.
I've mentioned this before, but game studios will routinely put an embargo clause on their game titles. It's an agreement from the game company that the entity will not release a review of the game until X hours after the official release. Ubisoft had a 12-hour embargo on The Crew, and then they also went further to tell people not to trust reviewers who had not put at least 40 to 50 hours of gameplay in. The message was clear. Don't trust the reviewers, just blindly follow us.
I get this feeling that the game dev companies just won't be happy until every console comes with a Soma dispenser and we all sing along with Bottle of Mine.
The soft pressure is that if a publication breaks the embargo, the dev company just won't give them a pre-release copy of the next game, and that's basically shooting yourself in the foot if you're an internet media publication. You get scooped by 12 hours and you might as well not even publish, right? And there's no reason to embargo reviews, and yet dev companies demand it. Well, actually there is a reason, and that's money. Oh yeah, well you can say what you want, but not until we've sold the game for 12 hours.
And what pains me the most is I want to give good solutions. I want to come up with good solutions. I just don't have any because I lack the resources. Look, these people have lawyers that spend more on their haircuts than I make in a week. And they got fanboys who are conditioned to just defend them at all costs. And I know that I'm just so super jaded that it's all going to come off as just angry rant and You know what? You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm done.
Hey, Tiger, you there? Uh-oh. Hang on, folks. Let me try something. This is gonna take me a few minutes. Hang on.
How the hell are you doing this?
Check your screen.
Okay, this isn't a smartphone. How the hell did you do this?
It wasn't easy, but look, I know you're upset.
This isn't going to be one of those stupid internet show tropes where everyone montages in to try to cheer me up, is it?
No, we can't afford the Nostalgia Critics cameo fee. I just want to ask you one thing. Why'd you start doing this show?
The real reason or the one everyone wants to hear?
The real reason.
To get people talking, I guess. I mean, there's so many issues that people just want to avoid because it's uncomfortable to own up to them. And, I'm used to being the black sheep anyway, so that's kind of figured might as well talk about it,
Is it working?
I don't know. It just seems to me that the companies are they don't want to deal with the problems that they're creating, and they just actively fight people who bring them up. Just call me Sisyphus.
6/5 of what?
No. Sisyphus. Never mind. It's just that, I feel like no matter what I do or what I say,
Are you
it's
sure
just...
you're not the one tilting at windmills? Well, you made me. I can do a lit slap too,
I've thought of that too. I can't rule it out.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
I have no idea. I mean, I try to give ideas and solutions, but, nothing happens. It's just frustrating.
Sometimes just getting an idea out there is enough.
Not the whole angry germ thing. Look, I don't want to be angry video...
No. I mean, you make a video, you tell people what's going on, you give what solutions you can, then you get others to offer them too. I mean, it's not up to you to solve everything.
Fine, it's not, but that doesn't really help me in the here and now. Game companies are bullying people and abusing the rules, and nobody seems to care as long as they have their latest title or until it affects their favorite YouTuber and they go... Yeah. That's the frustrating part. It's the impotent rage. It solves nothing, and it just detracts from the larger picture.
Okay, so what do you know about change?
I can't make people change, and change takes time.
The same goes for planting ideas. So, you coming back or what?
Eventually. I just need to figure out where to go from here.
Okay.
Now we get to see who the true fans of the show are. Who's going to hang around for this part. Doing this out of the script right now, because I am literally at 0 hour. This is going live on Channel Awesome way too soon. So, yeah, no script because I don't have time to actually write one. So if you guys can handle the jump cuts, I can handle the editing. Something I like to do when I do these shows, I put them up early for Patreon supporters. In this case, I put it up as early as possible saying, guys, I need feedback. Does this show suck? And the feedback was actually was good, but a couple things need to be changed. One of them is what I'm doing right now. And I would name names, but I didn't ask for permission, and it's kind of late to do so right now. So yeah, so just take my word for it that these are things that people actually said. One of them was that I should actually talk to you guys. Okay, I can see that because I kind of left the video dangling and there's this feeling of, oh, he's leaving forever. No, I'm not leaving. I'm just angry. We'll get to that in a little bit. Something else that was mentioned was that maybe the answer to this might be in the in these networks, or possibly having some sort of a content creators, like a union kind of a thing. Problem is that to me, that's like putting a Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound. It's just not adequate. It's not going to solve the problem. We're dealing with these surface issues, but the problem is really way down here in the core. Another person's mentioned that, maybe the answer is going to be having like an independent news network or having somebody who is not affiliated. But the problem is that they're going to run into the same problems. They're going to run into the same issues of censor. Okay, I want to use the word censorship, but it's been pointed out by another Channel Awesome producer, and rightfully so, that censorship is more meant to talk about governments. But until there's a better word for it, I'm using censorship. But you have these companies who can basically silence anybody who disagrees with them. And I realize that there's going to be people who are going to be like, not all game devs. And yeah, I'll fully say that. Yeah, not all game devs do this, but there are enough of them. And there's enough high-end game developers, AAA studios, who are using these tools, these DMCA tools, to silence people rather than to actually do what the Digital Millennium Copyright Act is supposed to do. It was also brought up that you can't really fault YouTube for doing what they do because they have to. And I understand that. I get that they have to follow the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's fine. It's just that there needs to be a better way to do this, because the way things are set up right now, you are innocent. Well, the way the law is supposed to work is you're innocent until proven guilty. The way that YouTube works is you're guilty until you're proven innocent. That needs to change. Do you guys remember earlier this year, Angry Joe had a video DMCA'd because somebody didn't like his logo in the backdrop of the video because it was talking about Gamergate, and they were all offended by that, so they filed a DMCA against Joe? Yeah, if that were to happen to my channel, I'd be sunk. The problem, and this is also brought up, the problem is that copyright law is broken. American copyright law is absolutely just broken. And nobody wants to solve it because the people who benefit from these copyright laws basically have enough money to throw at the government to lobby for their view to be the correct view. And I'm starting to veer very heavily into tinfoil hat territory with this, but yeah, American politics is the best politics money can buy, usually. Oh, that's going to piss somebody off, I know it. The last part of this that I want to address is the anger stuff, because this is an angrier video than usual. Yeah, a lot of people when they do shows like this, they put on the mask. They put on this character, this caricature, whatever you want to call it. And it's basically, it's a tool to defend themselves. Because if the audience responds to the video poorly, and they start flaming the talent, the talent can say, hey, that's not me, that's just the character. And they can deflect all the negativity. But that's not the case here. This is real. And people are going to say, oh yeah, but it's real, whatever. But you can be even more jaded than me and not believe it. Fine, I don't care. But this is honest. So when I'm angry, it's not just me putting on the raw face, it's being pissed off. And this issue genuinely pisses me off, because you've got large companies who can now DMCA, and they just do it. I don't even know if Konami is actually going to be held accountable for the false DMCA, because they could be, but again, they've got lawyers, so who knows if that's going to happen. On Steam, they can censor comments on Steam. They can delete comments that you put up if they don't like them. You've got these other large companies who are going to ban you from their games if you say bad things about them. That's already happened. It's going to happen again. It's just... It frustrates me to the point where I don't have words anymore. And that's where I'm at. I don't have the words. I don't have the ideas. I don't have that instant one sentence of, well, all you need to do is this, because there's more to it than that. This is not a black and white world. I wish it were. I wish that we could just have a one sentence solution, everything's solved. But we don't. So here's where I turn to you guys. Here's where I turn to you. If you got any ideas, on how to solve this problem, comment down below. And what I think you need to do is, getting angry is one thing, and figuring out what to do, having a direction to go, that's another. And I don't know. I want to see change. I want to see things get better. I want to see things improve. But the way things are going right now, and the way we do things right now, and the way that things work right now, nothing's going to change. And that genuinely pisses me off.